Pierre, are you surprised watching this whole Cutter Gauthier situation unravel? I mean, I get the fan bases take things really seriously, but it shocks me how far this has gone. As far as now, he's getting death threats.
Yeah,
The
that's
things that
awful.
people have been saying to Kevin Hayes, like this is hockey. Like it's crazy. Like I get it. It's not the most savory thing to do to not even be in the league yet and decide you don't want to play for an organization, but we don't really know what's going on either end's the
Right.
full story. It's just, are you as surprised as I am just how far this has gone?
I wish I could say I was surprised, but I think the world we live in now and social media, like people need to get a grip, man. Like, come on. Yeah, you're upset and he doesn't want to play for your team, but to see that there's death threats, I mean, that is absolutely beyond ridiculous and unacceptable on any level. But it's been a strange story. I mean, I wrote about it in my rumblings this week in The Athletic. Like, you know, the first thing I did is reach out to Cutter Gauthier's agent, Kurt Overhart, to ask a very simple question: why? Right? Why? And Kurt Overhart said to me what the player himself said to local Anaheim media yesterday, that it was a private matter. Which, unfortunately, and I get that that's how they want to play this, but that has, I think, in some ways invited a lot of wild speculation, which, again, doesn't mean that makes it right either. But the one thing Kurt Overhart stressed to me is that it got nothing to do with John Tortorella. This is not about not wanting to play for John Tortorella or any story angle you want to connect on John Tortorella, because there are some people who wondered that. I mean, Kurt Overhart, you know, has had some players that played for Tortorella in Columbus, notably, right? Brandon Dubinsky and Ryan Johansson. But Overhart vehemently denied that to me. But it is worth pointing out that the day after the trade, I also spoke with Danny Briere, the GM of the Flyers, and he absolutely stressed that he did not know the reason why the kid didn't want to sign there. And he said he asked repeatedly for the answer to that and could not get one.
That's just wild.
That to me makes him look even worse. This Gauthier kid, his camp, you know, they're not. They drafted him. They don't own him. He can make his own decision. But
Absolutely.
The idea that you've just decided I'm not signing, and I'm just going to shake my head and not actually answer anything. If that's true,
it's one thing not to go public with your reasons, but to not even tell the organization that you're walking away from.
Yeah.
What the reason is.
Well,
that's ridiculous.
And as you know, Briere spoke about this publicly. You know, him and Keith Jones, the team president, went to the World Juniors specifically. Well, I mean, probably not the only reason, but when they went there, they wanted an audience with him and his agent to once and for all plead their case, right, and share the vision of the team and where he could. And he refused to meet with them.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's obviously rubbed a lot of people, I think, around the league the wrong way. But again, I think because we don't truly know the answer, and because they've talked about it being private, I'm always wary, and this is just me being around all the time. You don't want to go over the top with your criticism, because what if when the reason comes out, you feel bad that you criticize them? I don't know. That's just my nature. Like, it's sort of, we don't know.
Yeah, that's
I just
possible.
feel like Cutter Gauthier is almost making things worse on himself by letting little tidbits out. Okay, no, now it's not Torts. It's not Kevin Hayes. It's not, you know what I mean? If you're going to say that much, just say what it is, because he's just making the situation worse for himself at this point with all the speculation. I don't know.
Well, we'll see. I mean, when he ends up in Anaheim and how the rest of his career plays out. But, you know, he's going to a team in Anaheim Philly's closer to competing than Anaheim is. Anaheim's not in a really good place.
Well, although there's a lot of young talent, boy, there. If ever they figure that out. And it's interesting, Pat Verbeek, the GM in Anaheim, you guys may have heard this, but he tried like crazy. It was his first draft as Ducks GM in 22. He tried to trade for another first-round pick, specifically to draft Cutter Gauthier at the time. Mm-hmm. So he's obviously had his eyes on him for quite a while. So not surprising that he's ended up with him, because I guess what I'm saying, wink, wink, is that you're not trading for Cutter Gauthier unless you know you're signing him out of school, right?
Yeah.
So that's a big part of this.